Welcome to the UCM Interface Bible Study dito sa 702 DZAS-FEBC RadyoTV Agapay ng Sambayanan. Isa itong conversational expository Bible study program hatid sa inyo ng UCM Interface, ang Young Adults Ministry ng Union Church of Manila. We do our best to study context and let Scripture speak for itself. Ang programang ito ay isang teaching ministry ng Union Church of Manila, a church of many nations committed to making disciples who are transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. Sa season na ito, pag-uusapan natin ang Book of Jonah. It's a very short book, 4 chapters, 48 verses total, and a very familiar story for most people, and may even be one of the most popular prophets in the Old Testament, especially with kids' material. But don't be fooled, this is packed with learning about God's character, mercy, love, and grace. Sa episode na ito, we'll be discussing Jonah chapter 2. Hello everybody, my name is Butch. I am a commercial voice artist.
Ako si Rainier, ang Young Adult Ministry Director sa Union Church of Manila.
I'm Anna. I'm an artist educator.
And I'm Anton. I'm a risk data analyst. I'm correcting myself from last week because I'm not a strategist. I was told that by my supervisor. So
You misrepresented yourself.
I listened to it and I wanted to make sure that I corrected myself this week.
Okay. So you're now you risk.
Data analyst, not a strategist. Strategists are the more hands-on people who make like the quote-unquote solutions to stuff.
So analysis of the data.
Yeah, I study the data.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
All right. So that changes very little of the things that I don't understand in life.
Hindi ko pa rin maintindihan yung trabaho nito.
Alright. Okay, so andito na naman tayo para sa ating second chapter ng Book of Jonah. But before that, quick recap muna. Ano yung mga pangyayari dun sa last episode? Previously on Jonah. Ano ba nangyari ulit? So tinawag ni Lord si Jonah.
Yep.
Diba? Parang punta ka sa Nineveh and then call out against it.
Yes. Jonah was like, run away.
Got one boat ticket.
And he went to?
Tarshish.
Tarshish.
Yeah, he went to Tarshish.
Tapos binagyo.
Yes. The rains came down. And everyone was panicking. They were trying to fix
tama.
the situation. They were throwing things overboard, praying to their gods. And Jonah was downstairs asleep. And then the captain said, wake up, pray.
Dasal ka para masave tayo.
And then, what was next?
Did he cast lots after that?
Yeah, tapos nag-cast lots na. Tapos, it fell on Jonah. Tinanong na si Jonah, ano nangyari? Ba't ganito? Ano ginagawa mo? Sino ka? So, nagpakilala siya. Ako si Jonah. What was the word he used?
I fear the Lord. Yeah.
I fear the Lord.
Kuno. Ayan. Parang ano gagawin namin para ma-appease yung God mo, Jonah? And then...
My favorite is his prophecy. His prophecy was, throw me into the sea.
And the storm will come down.
The storm would calm down. Tapos ayaw nila. Yun yung matindi. Ayaw nila. Parang, wag. Mag-row na lang tayo. Row your boat back to safety. Pero wala. Palala yung storm. So hinagis na nga talaga nila. Regretfully, ayaw nila talaga, di ba?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they said sorry to the Lord pa. The pagans said sorry to the Lord.
Yeah.
Hinagis nila. And that's where we ended because the last verse of the first chapter is where we're gonna start for the next one.
The last episode ended with the pagan sailors greatly fearing God. They feared a great fear. They offered a sacrifice to the Lord, in a way, parang an expression of worship, and then made vows.
Yeah.
Importante yan. Doon tayo natapos, that's verse 16. So for our episode today, we'll start with chapter 1, verse 17, and then the whole chapter 2 na 10 verses lang naman.
Okay. Although dun sa reading natin is just Jonah 2, but the discussion from chapter 1, verse 17. But before we discuss, let's go through our reading of Jonah chapter 2 in 3, 2, 1. The Book of Jonah, chapter 2. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the belly of the fish, saying,
I called out to the Lord out of my distress, and he answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. For you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas. And the flood surrounded me. All your waves and your billows passed over me. Then I said, I am driven away from your sight. Yet I shall again look upon your holy temple. The waters closed in over me to take my life. The deep surrounded me. Weeds were wrapped about my head at the roots of the mountains. I went down to the land whose bars closed upon me forever. Yet you brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God. When my life was fainting away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Those who pay regard to vain idols forsake their hope of steadfast love. But I, with the voice of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will pay. Salvation belongs to the Lord.
And the Lord spoke to the fish, and it vomited Jonah out upon the dry land. Fascinating yung ending niya. Okay, so for this episode, we're going to start our discussion with Jonah 1, verse 17. And so I'll start with that reading na rin.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the Lord appointed a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
Well, nagkakaroon ng mas prominence sa story ni Jonas the big fish, although we know that the fish was only mentioned in verse 17, and then in chapter 2, verse 1, and then verse 10 of chapter 2. Yun lang yung pinaka-importante din sa story. Well, in most children's version of, children's books version of Jonah. But anyway, tingnan nyo to itong gusto ko makita nyo. Again, the Lord provided. He provided.
Provided ba yung nasa...
Sa iba would be appointed, I suppose.
My version says designated.
Designated. But the point here is, again, God is using certain agents.
Another agent.
Yeah, and they all are from His creation. And this time, it's a huge fish. Alam mo, fascinating dito, dun sa mga early centuries rather, ng Christianity. Ibang interpretation nila dyan. It's not a huge fish. May kita nyo yan sa Christian art during the early centuries. It's a sea monster.
The Kraken.
Like a Leviathan?
Well, not necessarily Leviathan, but it's a dragon. It's a sea monster. Yun ang kanilang representation
a sea
ito.
Monster.
But in Hebrew, it really is just a fish. And then, dito, it's a male fish. But its gender will change to female fish.
Oh.
Yeah, it starts as a male fish, but then once Jonah's in the belly of the fish, mag-iiba yung gender. Iba yung gagamitin.
Oh, where does it say that it's a male?
Well, you don't see that in English, but it's evident in
Hebrew?
Hebrew.
Oh.
Okay. Kasi dito sa English, walang mention
Wala.
dito sa...
Yeah, it doesn't say a gender.
Wala.
Yeah, it's just a fish.
But it's more because of its function. May yung isa ng lamon, yung isa parang naglagay sa womb niya.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting yung storytelling. So it's a huge fish that swallowed. Okay, this is a very important language. How is this language used in the Old Testament? Okay, Anna, could you please read Hosea 8:8? And then Gutch, please read Jeremiah 51:34. And then, Anton, please read Psalm 124, verses 2 to 5.
Hosea 8:8. Israel has been swallowed up. They are now among the nations, like a vessel in which no one delights.
Who swallowed them up?
Assyrians.
Assyrians. They were swallowed up by a Gentile. Ang gusto natin makita dito how the language is used. So far, positive or negative?
Not nice.
Not nice.
It's not nice. But the point is,
And that's the punishment.
may punishment na nangyari sa Israel, right? Tapos, what about Jeremiah?
Jeremiah 51:34. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me like a monster. He has filled his stomach with my delicacies. He has rinsed me out.
Nilamon na naman siya. Okay.
Devoured talaga. Devoured.
So again, sinong lumamon naman this time?
Nebuchadnezzar. So Babylon.
Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, so Babylon. So ano pa rin, ano? Judgment pa din, ano? Yung pa rin yung nakikita natin. Alright, now the next one.
Psalm 124, 2-5. Had it not been the Lord who was on our side, when people rose up against us, then they would have swallowed us alive when their anger was kindled against us. Then the waters would have flooded over us, the stream would have swept over our souls, and the raging waters would have swept over our souls.
Same concept, same idea, but what is the psalm saying?
If not for God, they would have taken us and conquered us.
They would have swallowed us alive.
Nakukuha niyo pa rin yung the idea that swallowing,
It's still not a nice thing.
it seems like it's ano yung nuance niya.
I don't know, judgment ba? Or...
So I think that's very, very clear. This is about judgment. So when God designated a big fish and swallowed Jonah up, what does that mean?
He was judged.
May idea na agad tayong ganun. Importante yan. Kasi, bakit kaya?
Di siya sumusunod.
Okay, so that's very clear. Hindi siya nakatakas, no? So, he was judged. He's being judged. This is, in a way, this is punishment for Jonah. Pero very interesting na punishment to, ha? And then, gaano siyang katagal doon?
3 days, 3 nights.
3 days and 3 nights. All right, tingnan natin to. Tingnan natin tong language naman to na 3 days and 3 nights. Sa Old Testament, paano ba ginagamit itong, it expresses a span of time, but how is this used in the Old Testament? So anong nangyayari dito? Gusto ko makita natin. May mga hyperlinks na naman. So una is swallowing. This time, 3 days and 3 nights. Let's take a few examples. Halimbawa, itong Exodus chapter 3 verse 18, chapter 8 verse 27, and chapter 15 verse 22.
Sige, okay, so 3:18. And they will listen to your voice, and you and the elders of Israel shall go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us, and now please let us go a 3 days journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. 3 days journey.
It's a 3-day journey to the wilderness. Yan,
Okay.
Wilderness. Alam naman natin, pag wilderness ang ginamit na language sa Old Testament, parang palaging merong uncertainty dyan because the wilderness is always a place where, it's dangerous. Okay? Sige. 8:27.
We must go a 3 days journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to the Lord our God just as he commands us.
So this is a must, but then it's a 3-day journey to the wilderness. And again, that's a very dangerous journey. And then 15:22.
Then Moses led Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water.
Ooh, found no water. Again, describing how risky it is. It's always an ominous journey. 3 days.
Isn't it true that the body cannot survive 3 days without water?
Maybe you can, but the point is it's still dangerous, especially if you're traveling with children, you have animals with
Yeah.
you. That's the whole point. Ito, yung first 3-day journey in the Bible is found in Genesis 22 verse 4. Ano yan? Ano yan?
Wow.
On the third day, Abraham raised his eyes and saw the place from a distance. This is Abraham and Isaac.
Right. Again, anong idea?
May unknown aspect and tension.
Right,
Parang ganon.
right.
Suspense. Go to the unknown.
Right.
Into the unknown.
Oh, yan, di ba?
Parang ano to testing ito, no? So,
Yeah.
Testing, danger,
yeah, it's maybe a
suspense.
time of testing. Marami pa yung references sa Old Testament. At lahat dito, sa examples na to, I just won't mention all the other references. Meron talagang, it implies, a danger, uncertainty. However, there's also a possibility possibility of deliverance at the same time.
As with all the references na sinabi natin kanina, Exodus and the Genesis,
Yeah, lahat yan. There's still a possibility of deliverance or safety in that rather ominous journey. So you get the point. Ito pa lang sa verse 17, ang dami na niyang gustong ipakita sa atin. This whole idea of Jonah being inside the fish means, well, there's something ominous happening. Yes, this is judgment, but we are to anticipate redemption.
or the possibility.
Possibility of redemption.
Yes.
A lot of ideas in one verse. Inintroduce pa lang sa atin. So ngayon, from inside the fish, let me now move to chapter 2, verse 1. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord, his God. Interesting. Nagpray na ba si Jonah no sa chapter 1?
No.
No.
He just ran.
He just ran.
Nauna pang mag-pray yung mga kasama niyang mga pagans, di ba?
Exactly. Yung mga pagans na nagpe-pray but never Jonah. So this is the first time we're actually going to hear Jonah pray to Yahweh.
Better late than never.
Right. So dahil ito nga, dahil inside the fish na si Jonah, in Hebrew, babae na yung fish. Babae na siya. Now, he said, okay, ito na yung prayer ni Jonah. Let's listen to the prayer. Sige, pakibasa yung verse 2.
And he said, I called out of my distress to the Lord, and he answered me. I cried for help from the depth of Sheol. You heard my voice.
You heard my voice. And where was he?
In the fish.
In the fish.
Belly
but
of Sheol.
Oh, in Sheol.
The realm of the dead. Ito muna. Kasi ang i-describe ni Jonah dito sa kanyang prayer from verse 2 hanggang ending, dinidescribe niya dito yung kanilang cosmology, the Hebrew cosmology. Anong ibig sabihin? No? So for example, when you say cosmology, if you're a 21st century student of science, when you say cosmology, ano makikita mo? How would you describe cosmology or the cosmos?
Solar system.
Solar systems,
Stars.
planets, galaxies, etc.
Yeah.
Okay. But when we're talking about Hebrew cosmology or biblical cosmology, iba yan. Ang makikita mo dyan, ang nasa isip nila, you have a dome kasi may water sa taas at may water sa baba. Yung dome supports the waters above so it doesn't fall to the land, to the ground. Parang hindi mag-collapse yun. Otherwise, pag nag-collapse yan, and it happened, nangyari yan kay Noah.
So that's yung sa Noah na floodgates of heaven.
Right, those are the floodgates. So
Yeah.
may dome, okay? Na may mga konting butas-butas yun to control precipitation.
We talked about this in Genesis, right?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
The dome.
So you have that dome. What you have also is waters below. We have waters above and supported by the dome or held by the dome, and then you have waters below. May nakalutang doon sa waters below. That's land. That's the earth. So imagination nila flat earth.
Okay.
And then, na-imagine nila, kasi dito later may describe si Jonah. May roots.
Yeah, roots of the mountains.
Yeah, yung roots na yun are actually pillars supporting the land so it doesn't sink. Diba? Ganun
Okay.
sila. So you have the waters above, that's the sky. You have waters below and then floating, pero supported by the pillars or the roots, that's the land. And underneath the land, dun sa may tubig na, that's Sheol, the realm of the dead. That's the deep. That's the realm of the dead. Kasi the realm of the living is the land. And then the realm of God is the sky. Sa taas pa siya.
On top of the dome.
Ganon yung kanilang concept. So, kailangan makita natin to. Ang kailangan ma-imagine natin dito, yung cosmology nila.
Yeah, yung parang we're looking at it from their culture, kung ano yung paniniwala nila during that time, rather than we're forcing our modern day perspective dun sa text.
Exactly. You are not imposing your 21st century scientific instinct. Okay?
Which they were not even asking during that time, diba? Yeah.
Wait, so just so it's clear, is Sheol the water under the land, or is it like the land that the roots, quote unquote, are grounded on?
From the mountains.
Is there like a bedrock under the water?
We don't know.
Okay. I'm overthinking na.
Diba?
Basta everything under
ayan.
land, water, land, everything Sheol.
Right.
Kaya category niya is the deep kasi it's
Yeah.
like the unknown, the abyss. Yung ganun ganong klase.
But now he's there in the realm of the dead. But is he dead?
No.
He's not. But he's already there.
Will
And
be soon, Char.
mukhang ganon, ano? Mukhang mamamatay na siya. He knows he's going to die. But look at the tense used. Dito pa lang, sa start pa lang ng prayer. In fact, consistent yan eh.
Past tense.
Past tense. Parang sinagot na. In my distress, I called for help and you listened to my cry.
Nung binabasa ko nga to, inisip ko, wait, was there another time that he called? Kasi this is the first time.
Yes, but you know what he's doing here? Very familiar kasi siya sa Psalms. At lahat itong buong prayer niya, patsa-patsa yan na o patsi-patsi pala, patsa-patsa-patsi-patsi. Or patsi-patsi siya na verses from the Psalms. He's reciting the Psalms. Kaya naka-past tense.
Interesting.
Remix pala.
Oh, remix ito ng mga Psalms. Andiyan ang Psalm 18, Psalm 120, Psalm 186. If you go to verse 3, that's Psalm 88. At the same time, because he's reciting, the Psalms, iba't ibang verses from Psalms, meron din siyang certainty kasi. I know what will happen. I know God will answer. I know God will listen. So may confidence. Di ba ganun din naman tayo when you recite Psalm 23 or whatever is your favorite psalm or whatever is your favorite Bible verse, right? Don't we do that also?
Yeah.
May certainty, ito yung magiging result niya.
All things work for the good.
Yes, mga ganyan, Diba napaka-positive nung outlook ni Jonah while he's there in Sheol. He is very certain about his redemption. Tuloy pa natin. Verse 3.
It says, "For you threw me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the current flowed around me. All your breakers and waves passed over me."
Teka, sino nga ba yung nagtapon kay Jonah overboard?
The pagans.
The pagans, but here it's...
For you.
You cast me into the deep. Si Lord daw ang nagtapon sa kanya.
Okay. So he's acknowledging that it was God who hurled him into the deep. Pero, alamin din natin, this was punishment. And why? Who was the author of his own circumstances?
Juno.
Siya, right? Is God responsible for his rebellion?
Hindi.
Naintindihan naman niya, ikaw nagtapon sa akin dito, but so far, has there been an acknowledgement that he was responsible for his own rebellion? Meron ba kayo nakikita?
No.
Wala pa rin.
Wala.
Baka naman meron. Baka naman meron later. So tingnan lang natin. Gusto ko nung bigyan ng chance si Jonah. Okay, so verse 4.
Then I said, I am driven away from your sight, yet I shall again look upon your holy temple.
I have been banished from your sight. Paano ba to sa grammar? Anong tawag dyan? I have been banished.
Passive? Ano yun yung...
Passive voice.
Which is funny because dun sa chapter 1, it's he fled from the presence of the Lord. So yun yung active statement. Pero dito, I am driven away from your sight. So it's like, nangyari lang to sa akin.
Ay. Pero diba, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. What does the temple symbolize?
Presence.
Presence of God in the nation, right? Pero sabi niya dito yet I will look again toward your holy temple. It's as if he ran away and deliberately...
He did not look at that temple.
Well, we know that he never did. That's why he ran away. Pero ang
Yeah.
dating dito, yet I will look again toward your holy temple.
Parang he's implying that you don't like me, but I'm here. I've always been looking for you, seeking you. Why won't you love me back?
The hugots.
Right.
Diba? Parang may slight gaslighting going on.
It's not me, it's you.
Pero umaasa ako na I'll be back.
Yeah, someday you'll see my dedication, my effort.
Yeah, kasi when you say banished, wala na yan, parang permanent na yan I have been banished from your sight, parang permanent na, pero hopeful pa rin siya. And I will look again. So, meron na ba kayong nakikitang acceptance ng responsibility for his actions?
It's blaming the Lord.
So far, wala pa. Pero meron pa tayong 6 verses. Baka lang meron pa.
Okay, baka naman meron pa. Sige, tuloy pa natin. Verse 5.
Water encompassed me to the point of death. The great deep engulfed me. Weeds were wrapped around my head.
Parang trapped na siya, no? The waters closed in on me, over my life. Description dito parang delikado na talagang buhay ko, no?
Para siyang nagpapaka-sad boy.
Okay, very sad, oh. Kawawa naman ako. Tingnan nyo, the descent continued because nakita na niya yung roots ng mountains. And we just explained that. This whole cosmology. Verse 6. Kutch, could you please read it?
At the roots of the mountains I went down to the land, whose bars closed upon me forever. Yet you brought up my life from the pit, O Lord my God.
Ay, wow. He was still inside the fish when he was reciting this very beautiful prayer na ang ginawa niya parang patchwork ito ng mga beautiful lines from the Psalms. Now,
Yeah.
I want to stop here because I want to show something to you. Itong verses 2 to 6, it forms a what you call a chiastic structure from the Greek letter chi. So it kind of forms an X. Hindi naman talaga X, pero ang nangyayari dito, may mga passages na parallel, like for example, verse 2 and verse 6 are parallel. Kasi ano yung makikita nyo doon? In my distress, I called to the Lord. He answered me. So he was in the depths of the grave, no? I called for help. You listened to my cry. And then what happened in verse 6? Ando na ako sa ilalim, but
You brought up my life.
you brought me up. That's 2 and then 6. Let's look at verses 3 and 5.
So 3 is, for you cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the flood surrounded me. All your waves and your billows passed over me. Pagdating sa 5, the waters closed in over me to take my life. Tapos the
Yan.
deep surrounded me, weeds were wrapped about my head.
Parang nabalot ka na, no?
Parang naipit na siya.
Naipit. Yes, and right in the middle is verse 4.
Thanks for joining us for part 1 of our discussion ng Jonah Chapter 2. Join us again next episode for part 2 dito sa UCM Interface Bible Study. Till then, thanks a lot and God bless. You have listened to the UCM Interface Bible Study here at 702 DZAS-FEBC RadyoTV Agapay ng Sambayanan. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 702 DZAS-FEBC RadyoTV, and Facebook account, 702 DZAS-FEBC Radio. Hear our full episodes on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, at marami pang iba. Join us at Union Church of Manila,